we're already seeing it in terms of where all the AI is getting developed and produced. It's in a number of companies and in a couple of countries. It's basically the US and in China. That's where most of the development is happening.
So what are you telling your son in terms of preparing for a workforce in the future, of jobs in the future, where a lot of work can be done through generative AI and the rest through robotics and automation?
The first thing, young people have the advantage of being much faster in picking up new technology.
Sure.
Right? And so what I'm telling him is that he's obviously in college right now, so he's in a good place to learn the AI tools that can raise his productivity. I think the problem, of course, is for the older people who are usually not that savvy about picking up new technology. And there's where the risks would happen. So one of the consequences you asked about the impact on India is, I would say, specifically on call centers. Right? That is the one industry that could very quickly be, driven out of business because of AI. And you would not see the kind of outsourcing of work that goes from the US to India through the call center. There is where you might see very quick effects. And that's one of the areas that one has to pay attention to.
As far as countries are concerned, which countries are likely to be the beneficiaries of this? Which are likely to be the biggest losers? Or do you think it's difficult to classify as far as countries are concerned? It's more down to individuals and companies.
Right. So we know that countries that have a high level of human capital, great innovation space, good digital infrastructure, and the right kinds of regulation are going to benefit from it. So who are these countries? We actually did what we call a country preparedness index for AI. Among the top, you have the US, you have Singapore, you have Denmark, you have Germany. India is about the average for emerging markets, kind of in the middle of the pack. But the countries that are going to benefit from it are the ones who are on the top end in terms of all of these indicators.
Let's come to growth. Now, I want to start with India. There's a big debate raging at this moment about the kind of economic recovery India is seeing. Government-leaning economists say this is not K-shaped. A lot of left-leaning economists, and I don't want to attribute any ideology to the numbers that different people are doing, but they're insisting that we're seeing a very unequal economic recovery, where the rich are becoming richer at the top of the K and the poor are becoming poorer. What's your individual and institutional reading?
I mean, at first, I think we should recognize that the Indian economy is doing well. If you look at major economies, it remains one of the fastest growing economies, and we expect that will be true even in 2024. Two big areas of huge progress have been physical infrastructure, roads, ports, airports, and so on, but also digital infrastructure. I think both of those have been areas of remarkable progress, and that is beneficial to everybody. I mean, it's not just the very rich, it affects all parts of society. We're also seeing consumption growth, to be doing quite well, though we expect it to slow going forward. Yes, the government's public investment push has played a very important role. But again, I think India needs also much more reforms for it to be able to truly realize its potential and make sure that everybody, including youth unemployment, is reduced, that concerns about the K-shaped recovery are addressed. In terms of specific reforms, for instance, financial access to medium, small, and micro enterprises, I think is still an area where more work is needed, like credit growth to that particular sector. More is needed on that front. Labor market reforms are needed. Female labor force participation is incredibly low. More needs to be done to bring that up. So, I mean, there are many areas of...
So is the recovery K-shaped or not, in your view?
Well, it is, it is an economy where there is overall growth that is improving livelihoods for a large number of people. But at the same time, yes, you do see that what also typically tends to happen, that in these intermediate phases of growth, that you see more happening faster at the top end.